those of us that have addiction, because it's messy. And there are so many scary unknowns when it comes to that. It's a disease that hurts everyone in its path. And I was so blessed to have a community that loved me and sat with me when I needed it the most. No shaming, no guilt, just Christ-centered, unconditional love. And that is what brings sin to the light, and it saves. I am so intentional about how or who I surround myself with, especially in sobriety. And I don't. This right here kind of just makes me every single morning go, okay, I just need to I maybe need to redirect or recalibrate those I hang out with, because do you know that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with? And when you think about that even harder, I'm going to say it one more time. Do you know that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? And so I encourage you, because this is what I do, is to just take an inventory of those that you are with and around. And I ask my kids this: are you impressed? Are you impressed? Do they encourage you to do what is right and encourage you to be the best version of yourself? And when times get tough, do they help you course correct and speak truth into your life without condemnation? And it matters, because for me, again, it was a matter of it, like who I hang out with now. It's a matter of life or death, because I can hang out with the one wrong person who's like, oh, just come on. I even limit my time with my family, because just like that, I can be tempted. So we have to ask those same questions. I ask them to my kids, like I said, and we do randomly phone check. My son is the only one who has a phone, and it will also tell you a lot about their friends. So it's kind of amazing what you can find, and then it gives you a little bit more ways to encourage them to really think about those that they're spending the time with. And in case you haven't noticed, there is a lot of spiritual warfare going on right now. And the devil, especially when you step in to saying, yes, God, the devil tends to kind of go after us a little bit more, because he has a really big reason, because he doesn't like God, right? Like he doesn't want us to shine God's light. And in my personal opinion, I don't feel like he's having to work that hard right now, because he has put his own personal taser in the palm of our hands. And why I ask this question sometimes, like, why are we allowing the devil to have such easy access to us and to our kids? And we can excuse it, right? We can say, because the phone is used for good. We use it for work and other things, but in moderation. And because at the end of the day, the phone is a direct line in making bad choices or sinning, and it can lead us to really tough, life-altering circumstances. And so I had a few of you come up to me and say that you listen to the podcast that my husband and I do, and thank you for that, because these stories that we put out there are some of these life-altering circumstances. One of the guests that's coming up is a South Dakota private detective from the Division of Internet Crimes Against Children. And her name is Kendra Russell, and she's going to be a speaker at an upcoming event that I'm doing in Sioux Falls on September 7th for moms and young girls. And when I asked her, I said, how, is there any protective measures that we can take as parents and educators? Like anything that there is available out there that we can, some sort of blanket, so that our kids don't have any access to the grossness that's out there. And she said, sure, there's several, but every single predator finds a workaround. Every single one of them. I was like, oh, well, that's comforting. So can you tell me more about that? And she said, the best way to protect your families is to intentionally have strong relationships with them. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, that's it? Like that's the answer? And she said, yes, talking to your children educating them, limiting their access, and most importantly, building a connection with your children so they feel safe to tell you when they see something that makes them uncomfortable. It's because it's not a matter if, it is when. And so just to be very, very careful on that and just say, hey, if you see anything, we have to be the safe place, right? Like, we know this. So in closing, I challenge you to be vulnerable and share your story. I can see a lot of incredible wisdom in this audience, and I just want to sit with every single one of you, and I want to hear your stories and know what y'all have gone through and what you've overcome and what you're doing today and what you're passionate about. So share your stories. Share them with people. And follow through on the promptings of the nudges. Just like for my husband, man, I know it's hard to check in on people because you're like, oh, what if? Like, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I have no idea why this person just popped into my head after 10 years. But instead of questioning it, just reach out. Just reach out and say, hey, like, you're on my heart. Is there anything I can pray for you? Most likely they will come through and they will say, you know what, that's really crazy. I do need prayer right now. Every time that happens to me, I don't know why it is I-90 heading into Sioux Falls, but I'll be praying and people pop into my head and I was like, okay, I don't question it anymore. Because I wouldn't be standing here today if my husband would have ignored the prompting he felt on December 5th. I said yes, I'm all in to the call that he has on my life to share his redemptive story to the masses and to be bold in regards to how important the message is that we step out in faith and we love on each other unconditionally and we go above and beyond anything we ever have thought that we're capable of. Because through him, we are capable of absolutely anything. There's a winning team and there's a losing team. And the last time I checked, it's a lot more fun to be on the winning team. Our future has already been written, but it's up to us to choose the team that we're going to be on. And so, y'all in here, I know without a shadow of a doubt that you are all wonderful, strong believers in Jesus Christ. Sometimes we just need a little fine-tuning or redirecting, and then God just gets to use us. And so thank you for allowing me to speak to you today, for sharing my story. I am an open book. So if you have any questions, I did have my email or just ways you can reach me, but please feel free. I sometimes am a little more open than some people would. My parents are like, can you please not share that? But it's part of the story, right? So thank you very, very much, and y'all have a blessed day, and good luck with school starting. I'm really excited. You guys start a lot earlier than us because we're after Labor Day, but blessings to all of you. Thank you for giving me your time and your attention. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Heather. If you guys are podcast listeners, I highly recommend checking out the Fortitude podcast. They're actually, I started listening to it because Pastor and Jessica are on there. And algorithms, they just keep going. And I've heard Heather's story and several others in our area and just really touching stories. So highly recommend that podcast. All right. Well, that has wrapped our Sunday up. Please rise. I'll give you the blessing going forward. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace.